Etymology and historical origin of the baby name Eugene. Eugene is an English name brought to England by way of the Norman French after their conquest of England in the 11th century. It's the Old French equivalent of the Greek Eugenios, epsilon upsilon gamma epsilon nu iota omicron, from Eugenios, meaning well-born, noble. Eugene was born by a few early saints and 4 popes who helped to popularize the name in medieval times. However, it was a Frenchman named Prince Eugene of Savoy who really enhanced the attraction of the name in 17th and 18th century Europe. Considered one of the greatest military commanders in European history, Eugene of Savoy fought for Austria and the Habsburg monarchy against the Ottoman Turks. Eugene switched his loyalties from France to Austria because the French King Louis XIV denied him entry into the French army. Big mistake in hindsight, because Eugene would later successfully fight against his motherland, saving the Austrian Habsburg Empire from French conquest. He also kept the Ottomans from moving west and liberated Central Europe from Turkish occupation. In other words, Eugene of Savoy was a legendary figure in his own time, and his military achievements on behalf of the Austrian Empire remain unsurpassed. The given name Eugene has enjoyed a fair amount of success among English speakers in modern times, although less so today. Personality of the boy named Eugene. The 3 energy is powerful and enthusiastic. These personalities are cheerful, full of self-expression, and often quite emotional. They have an artistic flair and gift of gab that makes them natural entertainers. Their joyfulness bubbles over, and their infectious exuberance draws a crowd. The 3 personality is like a child, forever young and full of delight. They are charming, witty, and generally happy people. The 3 personality lives in the now and has a spontaneous nature. 3 seem to live with a bright and seemingly unbreakable aura that attracts others to them. In turn, they are deeply loyal and loving to their friends and family. Luck also has a tendency to favor number 3s. Popularity of the boy named Eugene. Eugene is an example of a masculine name which maintained great success in the United States for decades before rapidly falling from fashion in the 21st century. In fact, Eugene was pretty much a top 50 favorite choice for baby boys from the late 19th century all the way through the first half of the 20th century. The very height of Eugene's usage as a given name came between 1927 and 1929, when he was ranked at position number 20 on the charts. The name finally fell off the top 100 list in 1958, and he's been on his way out of style ever since. Initially, the decline was modest, but by the 1990s and 2000s it became clear that Eugene was officially passé. This is now a name considered outdated and old-fashioned, if not a little bit geeky. So-called old man names have not seen the same type of comeback as the old ladies have. Think Olivia, Ruby, Lucille. There are a couple like Henry and Ezra, but for the most part parents of baby boys are avoiding many of the old favorites in the 21st century as they opt for the Aiden, Jaden and Braydens over names like Eugene, Ralph and George. Eugene is another example of a highly neglected name by today's naming standards. Too bad, it's a solid, sturdy, and intelligent-sounding name. One which carries its well-born etymology with pride. We think this one is loaded with old-fashioned charm and expect to see parents rediscover this hidden gem in the next generation or 2. Quick facts on Eugene. Gender, boy. Origin, English. Number of syllables, 2. Ranking popularity, 779. Pronunciation, Eugen. Simple meaning, well-born, noble. Characteristics of Eugene. Social, dramatic, popular, happy, communicative, optimistic, creative. Cultural references to the baby name, Eugene. Literary characters of the baby name Eugene. Eugene Jerome is the protagonist in Neil Simon's 1983 autobiographical play, Brighton Beach Memoirs, the first of the Eugene trilogy, which included Biloxi Blues, 1984, and Broadway Bound, 1986. Eugene is a witty and precocious almost 15-year-old, obsessing about all the things such creatures do. He is growing up but isn't quite there. He fantasizes about baseball and sex, and he provides us with a guide to what it was to be a Jewish American boy in Brooklyn in the middle of the Depression. The world Jerome introduces us to is filled to the brim with love and laughter, shouts and tears, hilarity and tragedy. It is life in a nutshell. Eugene's large extended family deals with life as it comes, taking it on its own terms and forging on with rollicking love and earthy pride. As the specter of World War II looms on the horizon, Eugene begins to feel his own innocence and childhood ebbing away, to be replaced by an even harsher reality. But come what may, we are assured that Eugene will meet it head first, armed with the splendid array of virtues that come with being raised in the midst of love and humor. Knowing as we do that Eugene is largely based on Neil Simon's own background, we can see that everything turned out just fine. Eugene Rayburn is a character in Charles Dickens' final novel, Our Mutual Friend, first published in serial form between 1864 and 1865. Eugene is a wonderful secondary character, being a gentleman lawyer, but exhibiting little of the arrogance or superciliousness of his class. He is rather insolent and lazy, however, so he is no paragon of virtue. He is a good friend of Lightwood, the estate lawyer for John Harmon, and it is through him that he meets Lizzie Hexam. Here our Eugene displays the colors of his class, however, for though he is in love with Lizzie, and she with him, he is conflicted by the fact that she is of a lower social stratum than he. Also, unfortunately for Eugene, he has chosen the love interest of Bradley Headstone, who has designs upon Lizzie himself. Headstone is not one to be taken lightly. He attempts to murder Eugene by beating and drowning him. His plan is foiled and Lizzie ends up saving Eugene and nursing him back to health. It is at this rebirth that Eugene comes to terms with the short-sightedness of his views. Eugene knows and loves Lizzie for her innate self, and he is ready to defy societal conventions to marry her. It is Lizzie who deems this unwise and only marries him as she believes him to be on his deathbed. Luckily for both, their marriage is a happily ever after one, and we are relieved that one more stone in the wall of class consciousness has been removed. Eugene is the title character of Alexander Pushkin's classic novel in verse, Eugene Onegin, published in serial form between 1825 and 1832, the form of which is known as the Pushkin sonnet. It was also made into an extremely popular opera of the same name in 1879 by Tchaikovsky. Eugene is a young Russian dandy, vain and arrogant, leading a rather empty existence of balls and concerts. Eugene realizes the emptiness of his milieu, but seems unable to change it. Even when he moves to the country, representing a closer union with the natural world, Eugene remains indifferent to the charms of a more naturalistic lifestyle. Here he meets Tatiana Larina, a lovely and passionate young woman who flaunts all convention by declaring her love for Eugene. Alas, Eugene rejects her in no gentlemanly fashion, and continues on his aimless way. This non-committal life even leads him into a socially mandated duel with his best friend, Lenski, whom he kills. Tortured by remorse, Eugene travels aimlessly abroad. It is many years later that he meets Tatiana again, at once realizing what his churlish ways have lost him. This time it is he who is spurned by Tatiana, now a married woman who abides by a moral code. In the end, our Byronic hero has lost all he had and might have had, and is sentenced to a life of lonely disconnection and ennui. Popular songs on Eugene. A song by Brian White, a song by Pink Floyd, Careful with That Axe, Eugene, Eugenius. Famous people named Eugene. Pope Eugene I-IV, Roman Catholic popes, Eugene Gene Hackman, actor, Gene Wilder, actor, Saint Eugene, various saints, Eugene of Savoy, legendary military commander, Eugénie Delacroix, French artist, Eugene Jean Siskel, film critic, Eugene Jean Roddenberry, creator of Star Trek, Eugene Levy, actor, Gene Simmons, musician, Eugene O'Neill, playwright, Eugene Orwitz, better known as Michael Landon, actor, Gene Autry, singing cowboy, Eugene Gene Kelly, actor/dancer,